Afternoon, ENGL307T students. I'm actually getting this video to you on Friday, and I can still use natural light, so awesome. So this video is going to cover both some of the writing expectations for the application analysis assignment that's due this coming Tuesday, and it's going to cover some of the beginning choices that you'll want to make for the next assignment, which is the application instructions. So you've already gone through the choosing part. So in terms of your analysis, these are some of the things I'm going to be looking for in terms of your analysis. Now remember, I said in a few videos back that your analysis is going to, in many ways, be kind of a mini version of some of these articles that I've assigned to you all to read for class, like Soon and Sithers and the one about TikTok, and so these articles that I've assigned about affordances. That's kind of a you're kind of doing a mini version of those. So the analysis that you compose for this assignment will be based on your notes, and what I'm going to be looking for is it must identify and describe the application. You may use an application that I've never used before, and if I don't have a sense of what that application is, I'm going to be lost reading it. So you want to make sure that you identify what it is and describe it to me. You want to define affordances. Everybody has read Gibson's article, and explain the applications of affordances in light of this definition. You want to speculate who the intended user of this application is, and explain how the application of the interface is or is not designed well for this user. So that is your opinion, that's your judgment based upon looking over what this application is designed to do and how well it helps users do that. You want to converse with the reviews and articles you've read about the application or similar applications. What do I mean by converse? You want to cite them. You want to make reference to them. You will have a work cited, and you will, whether it be a video or whether it be a written review, you will cite them. So you can summarize them. It doesn't have to be direct quotes, but if you want to use direct quotes, you can. This is what I mean by conversing with them. It's not just dropping a quote in, but it's dropping a quote in and responding to that quote. That's what I mean by converse. Describe any affordance you would add to this application to accommodate the target user and explain why. If you do not feel like there's any affordance that you would add, you can say that, but then explain why you don't feel like, explain why you find this to be the perfect application in its design as is. So, what am I going to be looking for in terms of the overall criteria? So, as it says here, I'm looking for 1,000 to 1,500 words. And that's not going to include bibliographic information. I'm going to look for those 5 things I just covered. I'm going to be looking for you helping your audience understand and imagine the application through the words and images that you use. So that kind of goes back to that first bullet point above, which is, if you have an audience who hasn't used this technology before, this application before, are you giving them a sense of what it is? Do they have to go online and look up the application and look through the application themselves in order to understand it? If they do, you might be doing something a little bit wrong. I'm looking for at least 3 sources. So you have 2 reviews that you've done. You also have the 1 article that you've worked with. So I want you to draw from those materials. It's okay if you copy and paste from materials that you've already written. That was the purpose of doing that work. I'm looking for evidence of an understanding of affordances. If you don't seem to understand what an affordance is, that's going to be problematic. I'm looking for evidence of engagement with the application. I want to see that you probably played around with it to understand it. And then again, it's the bibliographic information either in the form of MLA or APA or Chicago, whichever you're most comfortable with. But you want to definitely cite those 2 reviews and the 1 article. And if there's anything else that you have brought in, cite those as well. So in terms of submitting it, you'll submit it in Canvas. There's a space in Canvas. Canvas has been set up that you can either submit it within a text box. That's probably not going to be the best way to do it, but if you feel like you can do it that way, go for it. The other 2 ways is you can link to something like Google Docs. So you that's one way of doing it, or you can download, or you can upload a document file. So those are ways that you can submit your work in Canvas. Now let me move over to the first part of the next assignment. So one of the other things that you'll be doing this week is starting to think about the next assignment, which is the application instructions. Again, I want to encourage you, if you used an application for the application analysis that can be used to create multimodal texts, I want to encourage you to use the same application for this next assignment. If you didn't, that's perfectly fine. You can use something else. Again, you are creating instructions for a couple of functions. You're not going to be doing instructions for the entire application. So for example, what are some examples of some functions that you might want to do? You're a TikTok user. So maybe the function that you want to do is, how do you create closed captioning or captions on a TikTok video? You are doing Google Slides. One thing that you may want to do is you may want to show your audience how to create alt text for Google Slides. You also, what's something else that you're using Canva, and you are starting with a template. How do you edit the template to make it your own? So ultimately, what you'll be doing is you will be writing just 2 pages. What you create should be able to fit on like 1 sheet of paper, front and back. That's what we're thinking about. So think about that in terms of your scope, and it should be readable. You shouldn't be using like 6 size font, in order to do this, in order to fit it on, 1 sheet of paper on both sides. So for some of you, that's going to take up that's just going to be 1 function of the app that you're working with. For some of you, you might need to do 2 functions. Think about 2 related functions. So maybe if you're doing Canva, how do you edit, a template in Canva, and how do you move text and write text in it, something along those lines. So think about that. Again, you're looking to create, this is helping us all for the next assignment, which is creating the multimedia text. So you're trying to help your peers. I am going to set up a document for all of us to sign up for, all of you, sorry, for all of you to sign up for what you're going to do. As you can tell, ultimately you're writing this for each other. So if there's a lot of people doing the same thing, it's not going to be as helpful. So what I'm going to say is, can you do the function of an app that somebody else has already done? Yes, I'm not going to prevent you from doing that. Um, do I want to encourage you to do something that somebody else has not done yet? Absolutely. So, but you won't get graded down. I'm not going to punish anybody for doing the same app. But again, we're trying to help each other out. So if you choose a different app, that's what's going to help each other out. Um, okay, so that's what we are going to be doing. I have set up a 12-minute video from Allegra Smith for you to watch on writing instructions. So that will give you a sense of what we are aiming for. So I want to encourage you to watch that. And besides watching that video, watching this video, and submitting your application analysis, you have nothing else to do this week. So I look forward to reading your work. If you have any questions, my email is kdepew@odu.edu. Have a good weekend.